In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to wrap over a Chevy bow tie emblem, or really any emblem for that matter, with 3M wrap film. And you can change the stock color of your emblem from that gold to a different color. For this example, we're going to go with a matte black. So here's a fan deck. These are 3M colors. They have gloss, matte finishes, satin finishes, some textured like carbon fiber. But for this particular project, we were going to use the deep matte black. It's a good finish. Then one of the tools that we need here is a typical heat gun. It's just a standard heat gun. Then either an X-Acto blade or a Alpha blade. We like the Alpha blades because they're easy to change and get a nice sharp clean edge. Go ahead and hack off a slice of the roll of matte black film. Then you'll also need some isopropyl alcohol. Ideally you want a 50-50 mix or a 70-30 mix. If you get the 90-10, it can be a little bit harsh on the paint. And then finally we have a squeegee. I like these Geek Wrap squeegees. They've got a nice felt edge and then also a hard Teflon edge. So here's what the Chevy Colorado looks like before. Go ahead and soak this rag and clean off that bow tie. We're going to change this gold bow tie to the matte black. For any wrap, probably the most important step is the preparation and cleaning. So we're just taking off the surface dirt, and then we'll come back and clean up the edges. And there's a little trick that I like to do to get the dirt and grime out of the kind of nooks and crannies. I'll fold a paper towel over the edge of my squeegee and then saturate the paper towel with alcohol. And then that allows me to get down into those cracks and crevices that are a little bit hard to get to otherwise. And this is important because most wraps are not going to fail at the center. They're going to fail at the edges. So you want to make sure you get all the dirt and grime out on the edges so that the adhesive really bonds on there and the application, goes smoothly and stays stuck for a long time. So at this point I've got a manageable little rectangle of material and I've peeled the backer off of it. So the paper is gone now, the paper liner, and this is just the vinyl. You can just kind of lightly tack it up on the emblem and let it sit there, and then come back over the top of it and use a little bit of heat with your heat gun. Now it's important not to use a propane torch or any other sort of open flame when dealing with the matte materials. It's fine to use a propane torch if you're using a gloss wrap, but the matte finishes tend to polish out and will become mirrored, and it will kind of destroy the matte look if you use an open flame. So it's crucial that you only use a heat gun. You do not want to use an open flame when working with matte material. So I'm just going over it with some heat and then using my finger, not really even using the squeegee at this point. A lot of times your thumb or your hand is your best weapon or your best tool when you're applying these smaller sorts of emblems and graphics. So eventually, as you heat it up, all the wrinkles will kind of shrink out when the heat is applied to it, and you can just keep pressing it down until the adhesive fully grabs and you've worked all the wrinkles out. If necessary, you can kind of lift it up and pull it out taut and press it down. You should have a nice finish without any wrinkles. We'll go ahead and fast forward through a little bit of this. Now that the vinyl is installed all the way over the flat portions, we're going to go through and do some detail work here. So there's a little bevel that's difficult to see in this video, but you'll have to go back over and use a little bit of care with the edge of your squeegee to get down in that groove. Otherwise, there's going to be air bubbles. So this is just doing a little detail work. I'm taking the edge of my squeegee, the felt part, and making sure that the vinyl is pressed in nice and tight around the perimeter of the bow tie. This portion can be a little bit time consuming. You will have to go through and reheat and take care to press down all the edges correctly. But don't rush it. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't take that long. It's just an extra 5-6 minutes or so, and it'll really make the difference between a kind of amateur hacky looking finish by rushing it, or a nice professional look if you take care and time to do it the correct way. Now it's the most difficult part, but also the most rewarding because we're getting ready for the big reveal here. I've got a brand new blade in my Olfa knife. It's imperative that it be extremely sharp. You don't want to try to do these finishing cuts with a dull blade. Even if you use the blade only once or twice, it doesn't matter. Just put in a new X-Acto or break off and get a new blade. It's very important. Um, if you're careful, you will not cut any of the plastic on the vehicle. There's a little groove that you can get in around the bow tie, and you just let your blade kind of follow the contour of the shape. And if you have a nice, clean, fresh blade and you get it in that groove, you're not going to cut anything. You're not gonna have any scratches on your truck. So if you just take your time here, use a fresh blade and follow around the perimeter in that groove. After a minute or two, you'll have the finished product. So let's fast forward here and see what it looks like. All right, so it's all trimmed out now, and you just peel off the excess and kind of go around the perimeter like that. And there it is, the finished product, a nice matte black Chevy bow tie. I think it looks substantially better than the gold.